Hello my friends, and welcome to this very special pick a card reading, which is a collaboration between myself, Eye of the Serpent Tarot, and Ember Moon Tarot. And this is the first in a series of 3 different sets of readings where we have picked things that come in trios and decided to explore them and see what messages they hold for you in these pick a card readings. So the first one that we've decided to explore was the 3 Fates of Destiny, which is the 3 Fates, the 3 Moirai of Greek mythology. And the Moirai were 3 goddesses that decided the fate of human beings and human souls. So we've each chosen a Moirai, with Helen choosing Clotho, which is about what you will be starting and when. And Clotho, she created the thread to work with. So she would be responsible for births and creation and things like that, like the actual initial start, the spark. Then you had LACHESIS, who was the one who decided how long the thread was going to be, and that will be covered by Ember Moon. So that will be about how your manifestation is taking place and how that's going along for you. And then there is Atrophos'S, which is the one who cuts the thread, decides when the thread should end. And that's this reading, where I'll be exploring what is coming to an end for you and how that's going to transition. How do we work through that transformation and what that's going to hold for you? So with that being said, I've pre-picked several different cards, like a whole bunch of them here for each pile. But then will be also going through with the tarot, just shuffling them as I normally do. But I've picked 3 piles for you. The first pile is Aletheia. Pile 2 is the Mother. And pile 3 is the Offering. So, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Timestamps will be in the description box below, and I'll see you at your reading. Bye. Pile 1, hello and welcome to your reading. This is on what is ending for you right now. Atrophos, the energy of Atrophos. So what I've done here is I've got your Aletheia card here, and then I've got a couple of astrology cards from 2 decks. And then I have some keywords and also a shamanic animal for you, which is really interesting with the earthworm here. What I'm getting initially is there's a real lack of trust in yourself. I feel like you're not trusting yourself. Why are you not trusting yourself, my lovely pile 1? There's something that's knocked your confidence and something that might have ended that you might be thinking, you know, maybe a truth has come to the surface. This is actually what it is. So some kind of truth has come to the surface, and basically it's really shaken you. It's shaking you. I wouldn't be surprised if this was to do with a person. It could be a betrayal of someone. It could be also you find out something about their past. Something has come to light that may not, that kind of has made you think, oh, right, I don't know if I really know this person as well as I thought I did. So, yeah. And that's not to say that this person is untrustworthy, but it's shaken you. And it also, I don't know, I just feel like your confidence has been shaken. So in the respect of your confidence being shaken, I feel like it's, you know, maybe, I don't know, this is quite like, you know, a base thing, but like maybe they've had more partners than you, and then you're thinking, oh God, I don't know if I'm like compatible. I don't know if I'm worthy enough. I don't know if I'll be able to like compete with all of the energies that have been there in that respect. So that's what I'm getting. And also it's very, you know, it feels like you've had a lot to deal with. So what this is about something like how the truth is literally cutting through something. And I see the earthworm being cut in half as well. So it's almost like it's almost decapitated you in a way, or like cut you in half. But the earthworm still lives. And it's really interesting how we have 22 and we have these snakes here. 22 is a master number. It's the number of architecture and building, particularly when two energies come together, but also when two mature energies come together. So in the respect of deeper two people that have actually reached some kind of level. So I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've got a feeling that the person that that's one of two things. The person that has dropped this bombshell on you, they haven't done it to drop the bombshell on you, to make you question yourself, but it has. And the other side is that, you know, maybe you're of a level, or maybe you need somebody to like level up to, because you're thinking or feeling that you might need to level up to someone, but actually it might be the other way around. Now, there is trust here. It's not reversed. So I'm thinking that this is more about how you approach the situation. In the respect of the 7th house being reversed, I kind of also feel that this is questioning about whether or not that this person is going to be right for you, or if you're not in a relationship, how you do approach like other people in the respect of your partners. This could also be you and how you communicate with others on their relationships. And you might find that you don't have the know-how or the ability to be able to, you know, speak out about it as you once did maybe. But yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like there's been a bombshell that's kind of that's been dropped, and you've been reduced to a beginner's mind. But there's some incredible insights that are here with this beginner's mind, particularly because we have all of these colours here with the 22. So that's really interesting. Let's have a look what planets are in this Grand Cross. Mars, Pluto, don't know what that is. Pluto, Neptune. So Mars, Neptune, Pluto. And the moon. Mars, Neptune, Pluto, and the moon. Mars, Neptune, Pluto, and the moon. Mars, Neptune, Pluto, and the moon. Well, your emotions are being deeply afflicted by your drive. Because it's that thing of where you believe that you knew that something was right, but then Neptune and Pluto are like, no. Yeah, there's some other things that you needed to find out first, you know. It could be that thing where, like, I don't see this as a betrayal, but we'll see what the Tower is. The Tower, interesting how that came out. We'll see what the Tarot says. But I am seeing, like, maybe a loss of innocence, maybe a loss of like understanding about sexuality or something like that, because we've got Pluto, we've got Mars, we had the moon and Neptune. So it may be like, I just get a really like dreamy kind of nature as well, just something that pushes your boundaries. But I don't think it's anything like too lightning bolty. I think it's more just pushing the boundaries. And it will transform you. It's nothing that you can like go into. And I think this is the whole thing about this reading. It's very transformative. So it's about how you transform in the way that you relate to other people in the respective relationships, romantic relationships. Let's see what the Tarot has to say. I'm curious. Part 1. This is really, really cool. Okay, so I'm reading with the El Goliath Tarot because Atty doesn't really... it's because I played her in this production that I did many, many years ago, and we called her Atty, Atrophos'S Atty. So she's like... She's a hard bitch, you know. She doesn't mess around. She was the oldest out of the Fates. And also, you know, she meant business. So we're going to see what the El Goliath has to say about that, because this is like one of my most intense decks. So this is a bit shadow worky, to be honest with you. But, you know, hey, we're all dark. There's all a bit of darkness in us that we have to embrace at some point, no? So anyway, the jibber jabber was basically there's other cards in this deck. So they may come up and give us an idea about what is ending for you, you know. But right now, what I'm getting is a paradigm about relationships. Okay. Saw what that card was, didn't you? Okay, just one. Can I just have one? Okay, right, so the Knight of Wands. Yeah, I think you felt like you were like quite strong sexually, quite strong in your approach to sexuality. Quite strong in your knowledge of sexuality. But there's something that you need to kind of maybe rebalance. And I think there's something very beautiful that's going to come out of this. I think it's a real beautiful evolution of your character that's going to come out of this. Because, you know, maybe you kind of thought, you know, sex is just like one thing. I'm sorry, it's coming out like maybe pretty much like attitudes towards sex and sexuality. Like you thought it was one way, it seems like. It seems like when people get into relationships, they kind of do this thing and that's how they kind of like do stuff. Or like maybe in your own relationship, more than likely in your own relationship, you thought that this was going to be the way. You thought this was going to be the pathway. You kind of could charge ahead because you knew what the course was. It's almost like a runner in a marathon or a runner in a race. Like you kind of know where you're going because you can see it, right? But then out of nowhere, a curveball comes and then you've got like this Emperor reversed. Now this could be... I mean, what I'm seeing here is really interesting. Something about father line traits going down the ancestral line. So, for example, it could be like your partner has suddenly discovered something about their father or has discovered traits in their own sexuality that attributes to their father. So maybe something that their father did to them when they were younger, like maybe spoke to them in like a particular way, disciplined them in a particular way, makes them think about relationships. Not just, when I'm talking about sexuality, I'm talking about it as a collective, not just as like, you know, sex. But something kind of affected them quite deeply. It could also be in respect to like your father as well. Because we've got two exceptionally fast cards here. It's almost like a kind of, I'm just getting like a kind of kind of action, like a, you know, kind of thing. And it's fast, it's hard, and it's kind of without emotion. It's just almost getting to a goal. And that's Mars, you know. Mars is very much about that impulsive action. But because of this kind of bombshell that's happened, which I think has been maybe a sensitive side that has come out from this person who maybe you didn't expect it from. It could also be with you as well. This has opened a gateway to you realizing about how things can change, how things can go a different way like that. So God, an analogy is like, for example, if you thought that, like, for example, sexual relationships were, like, they were conducted a particular way and that they were one way, this could possibly open you up to a different way of how you can conduct your relationships in a sexual manner. I'm getting very sexual vibes here. I can't lie. This is what I'm getting. But it might not be. It might be. And the thing is that sexuality does also drive a lot. So it could be like how people are passionate with you, how others are passionate with you, how others communicate with you on that respect. So if you're not in a relationship, it's about how others see you. And remember, like, what people see in you gets reflected. Like, it's just a total reflection coming back. So if they see those things and they behave in that way towards you, it's because they see it in themselves when they look at you. And what's happening is that you're actually there's some provocation of like some real kind of loving energy that involves something very innocent, very pure, something that's a tentative yes, and is a rebalancing of the energy. It enables it to like be what it's supposed to be. So a 3D world example of this is that, you know, you get into a relationship, or you enter some kind of a relationship with someone. It could be platonic, and it's quite like fiery. You know, you find like there's just like, you know, you kind of like jar each other, but you kind of like the banter. It's quite like intense, you know, and there's also like some chemistry. I mean, this is what the chemistry is about, but it makes you question what's going on, like with yourself, because you're thinking, do I really know what's going on? Because maybe this person is telling you stuff and saying, oh yeah, there's all of this sort of things that go on, you know, not necessarily with sexuality, but it is when people are telling you certain things, it's kind of like a one-upmanship in the respect of like, you know, if they want to tell you to impress you, that is, depending on what the outcome is for it. So with that respect, it's kind of like putting you into this kind of confusion, which is making you like question whether or not, you know, you're a beginner, or do you really know what you know? Like, you're like, wait a minute, I thought I knew about this subject. I thought I was pretty good. And but the thing is that this is something that's very special, because this interaction, and I think it might be interactions with several people, because we've got like those 4 planets grand cross, so it might be like several interactions that's happening that's making you question this. It's causing you to really recognize whether or not you can truly trust yourself. How do you trust yourself? How do you trust yourself within those situations? And it is to do with love, for sure. So I think this is what's happening here is an ending to a thought paradigm, which you actually were quite, you know, hung up on in the respect of like relationships, partnerships, how you interact with others. I do see specifically partnerships. So another thing as well, it could be as well that something happens with your parents, and the dynamic of their relationship changes, and that may shock you, you know? So it's not necessarily like you. It could be a relationship that's like close to you, but is representative of something that was one of your caregivers or something. So yeah, God, that's a bit deep, isn't it? But yeah, that's really interesting. Wow. Part 1, what a way to kick off. Okay, let's have a look at how you're going to navigate this situation, because I think, I don't know, I want to... Yeah, no, we'll do the tarot first. Let's have a look. So with this Knight of Wands energy, what advice for pile 1 does Atrophos have in the endings? Okay, the Queen of Wands. Wow. So going from the King and the Queen. So what a beautiful amalgamation of male and female energies that is going to come across in the respect of like, you know, you going through this process. It's almost like an old belief is dying. I really do feel like it's a paradigm shift. That's what's happening. And it's really giving you some great insights into having some real freedom about your sexuality and sensuality. It's going to be amazing, like creatively, I feel, if you are a creative. So let's see what the Emperor, okay, reversed. Okay, the Ace of Swords. You need to communicate this. If you find that there is somebody, and I wouldn't go against therapy or anything like that, talking therapies. Now, or exploring it. If you don't want to do therapy, journal about it. But it would be important to speak it out loud or communicate it, I think. Any kind of trauma that is associated with like the father, or if you're in some kind of relationship that has that kind of lineage problem or trauma attached to it, like do something with it, like write it down, communicate it, talk about, you know, because you might not be able to do it. Okay, you might recognize that there's a bit of a block, and you might not be able to kind of, you know, really investigate it. That's the first step, right? So, you know, when you can kind of like when you can kind of just take baby steps in the respect of that, because it's quite tough. I feel it's quite tight here in that respect, particularly with this Knight of Wands. There could be also a respect of where, like, you know, you've been feeling the other way, exceptionally passionate, exceptionally driven, but then it might be the masking of something in terms of that level of trauma. And now it may be that there's this person that's come across that is giving you this loving kind of angle, and it's giving you the yes, but you're like, no, I don't know. And it's got the scope of like a real commitment. This is for those of you that are that are kind of maybe seeing someone, or if you're single and you're looking for someone, or you're dating or whatever, or there's something, or you're not even like looking, maybe somebody might come across to you that might change your mind. I'm feeling change the way that things have been going previously, but in a beautifully transformative way that's going to shatter some illusions and help you to rebuild something. Okay, so, and it would be really good for you to go over to Clotho, to Helen's reading, and also to LACHESIS, which is with Ember Moon, to see how this will manifest. Okay, so you've also got the Ten of Pentacles reversed. I just see no bounds, you know. I see this is really beautiful, this reading. It's really beautiful. It's just no kind of like you're not adhering to what everyone else is doing. You're realizing you don't have to do what everyone else is doing, because there's so many things that you can explore. It's just really exciting, I think. Really exciting. Okay, interesting. Ace of Wands. So in that case, then, this energy is not going to come from a sexual point, which usually you might have been used to. So, for example, like, you could be someone that's used to dating men, or if, you know, dating people that only really think about sex, or only really think about like the sexual kind of thing. It's you know, it's a passionate, you know, affair, because we've got the King and Queen of Wands there. But then all of a sudden something else comes into the fray. You could also be thinking that, you know, you think, oh, emotions, I want to think about my emotions. I want to think about what's emotionally fulfilling for me. And that will help you to come back to this Grand Cross and think about, like, how is it that I need to transform? Because the drive is being hindered by the moon, by your emotions, by Neptune, by this kind of like unknown emotional state, which is like on a grander scheme of things, approaching with people externally. And then you've got you've got Pluto, which is like, it's just overall transformation for everybody involved. So it's just a really interesting mix. Well, I was talking about the Tower, wasn't I? And it came out. And it came out reversed. So, I mean, yes, this is a really good thing to be happening, for you to ascertain towards the truth, to understand what is your truth, so that you can really trust. But you need to make sure that everything is kind of like cleared. The decks are cleared so that you can rebuild. You know, you can rebuild your values. Because the yes here reversed is telling me it's a yes, but it's kind of like 80% yes. Not quite, or maybe 75% yes, you know? So things need to be in order for you to like to welcome in this new paradigm, or even to kiss it goodbye. Do you know what I mean? Even to end it, because I don't think that you can end something unless you really, you know, unless you know that you've got something coming up. You know that something's gonna, you know, it's gonna change as a result of you ending it. Do you know what I mean? It has to. And I don't know, if you don't think that anything has to end, then you're not gonna get to this stage, are you? But I think that, you know, that's the whole process of transformation, like understanding what it is exactly that has to end. And right now, I think it's a paradigm. It's a thought paradigm in connection with your relationships, with your relationship, and how you view relationships, with romantic relationships. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. And this may involve some single time. It may involve you being alone. It may involve you doing some kind of meditation, some kind of thing that's going to encourage you to be alone, so that you can look at things in a different perspective, in a different way. And it's going to be very worthwhile. Definitely. It's going to be very healing for you, part one. exceptionally so, because you're going to come out like this kind of like new being that's going to be able to like really take forward these amazing relationships. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if you start being able to advise people on their own relationships, because it's going to be, yeah, I got a really good feeling about it. Okay, let's see what these other cards have to say. Well, Earth, utilize logic, reason, and common sense. So a grounded, you know, when it comes to exploring your sensuality, sexuality, your relationships with other people, no matter what, a grounded sense is the most important thing. It's the most, you know, it's the thing that just keeps everything safe, you know? It's like the plug, it's like the earth wire in a plug. That's what I'm seeing. So it's the thing that makes sure that you don't electrocute yourself. That's what this is about. So this whole process is about you grounding yourself. So some goddess energy as well. We've got Frigg, interesting. And then we've got family, fertility, and partnership. I think if you're like looking to have like some kind of partnership with someone, it has to be something very grounded. But Frigg is a very sensual and sexual character. So it's about the embracing of that as well. And if you, in a space where you're finding it difficult to do that, which it seems like there is with this and this, then there has to be some kind of shift, transformation, expellation. You need to get rid of stuff. Something needs to die, essentially, in order for you to give birth to this sense of yourself. So I think that's the most important thing here, is that this aspect, this old paradigm of what you've been believing about relationships or what's happened has to die, has to be sloughed off like skin or whatever. Okay, so now I might need to look this up in the book, because these ones are the mansions of the moon. I've got two cards which are the mansions of the moon, but this one is a particular like a moon phase. So let's see what this phase is going to bring for you. So we've got black moon, which is water, dormant, and isolation. Okay, let me just have a look at what that means. So this is really interesting. It's about this sense of like coming back in, like the not quite the hermit, right? Similar to the hermit. But it's the internal work, you know. It is very a la Hanged Man, you know, just withdrawing and looking at what it is that you have been giving your energy to others, how you give your energy to others, how you interact with others. It's contemplating this cross, you know. So we've got Moon, Neptune, Mars, and Pluto, okay? So it would be those energies that you would be contemplating. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you're not, like, familiar with them now. Those are the energies that will be playing in this respect of this thing, like, ending and coming to an end. It's interesting. I'd be really curious to see what your comments are about this. Okay, so abundance. It's reversed. So, I mean, I think it just comes back to this thing of like where you thought you knew it, and it's not what you thought it was, and then that can leave you with a sense of loss. But also it can make you really happy, like in the respect of like, okay, now I've got nothing, and now I can start again, coming back to this earthworm. You know, it's just you have to unlearn what you've learned, and that's okay. You know, get the ego out of it, chuck the ego in the bin. And it doesn't matter. This needs to be sloughed off so that you can like expand. And then we have acquisitiveness, ownership, avarice, and profuseness. So again, this comes to like the Martian energy of I do. It is very Emperor reversed. You know, if you believe that you know something, like if you believe that something has to be a certain way and it should be that way because that's how relationships run, that's how things are done. You could also get that with the earth energy as well, where things are very stubborn. this is what needs to die. This is what's dying. You're understanding that this has to die. If you're going to be, you know, it's that saying, isn't it? Would you rather be right or alone? Now, that's, I think, you know, obviously, you know, don't compromise. And I always say this, don't compromise your values in respect to like whether or not you're going to be right with someone. But whether or not you shove your opinion down someone's throat, which is this Martian energy, it can be, and that Emperor reversed as well, it can be quite difficult. So yeah, interesting, very interesting, but it's good. It's like, I think this is an amazing transformation for you, pile 1. Okay, so this is the mansions of the moon, just to close out, and then I've got a question for you that will help you like work through this energy. So I've got Nahaim, hunt and purpose. If reaching a goal is and it's Sagittarius, and we've got Mars and the moon, right? So if reaching a goal is your command, your desires you must learn to master. I'll just show you that. It's such a beautiful card. Look at that. So you can pause that and look at that. I love these cards so much. So yeah. You know what I'm getting, part 1, and this might be a bit R-rated, yeah, but it's not all about just the climax, do you know what I mean? It's not just about the goal. It's not just about what's, you know, I'm going to go to get something. And that's very Martian. That's very like Emperor reversed energy. That's very that energy. They don't care. They just want to get it done. And then they don't care about the journey. And I think that's what this is about. You're understanding that it has to be about the journey. And you may understand that on a, you know, on a mundane level, on an intellectual level, but there's some kind of deeper understanding that's going on here that's being revealed. And let's see what this card is. Cetus. What if you could see the world through the eyes of your enemy? Wow. What if you could see the eyes through the... what if you could see the world through the eyes of your enemy? What a paradigm shift. That's what I've been saying since the beginning. It's a paradigm shift. This is a big paradigm shift. Pile 1. What an incredible reading. Love this. Love it. Go and check out the other 2 because I'm curious to see how the story will all come together. What the thread is, because you know it's kind of like you're here at the ending. So, well, not the ending, but you know if you started here and then you go to the others and see how they all fit, it'd be really cool to find out what your responses are. But if you did enjoy this reading, please do give it a like. Please do subscribe for more videos. Otherwise, I really have enjoyed this, pile 1. And I look forward to exploring more of the other subjects with you as well, with the other trio readings that we're going to do. Anyway, take care, my darlings. Have a beautiful day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Hello, pile 2, and welcome to your reading. You chose the Mother. Interesting. So what is coming to an end for you? What is Atrophos? Atrophos'S energy I'm doing for you. Interesting with this Mother card. Okay, so let's have a look at your other cards. So we have Neptune, sacrifice. We have the South and the North node. Vulture, reversed. And then we have reflection. Interesting. So this is karmic ancestral patterning that is ending. I don't know if you're familiar with the term curse breaker. It is a term that's kind of recently come into fashion, whatever, the spiritual fashionable space where basically, or, you know, I don't know, it's come to light, but what it is really known as is as someone who is able to break the generational curses of their family. And this is what I see. particularly with this sense of Neptune here. And also, vulture is a very powerful animal. It was a very powerful animal in Egyptian times. Somebody who, or an entity or a spirit that would oversee the king, look after the king. When it's reversed, I see the negative aspects of the vulture, the one that is, you know, the scavenger. The vulture eats really things that are dying, things that are dead. So it's almost like, I feel like you don't want to feel that something is dead in reference to the mother line, because it almost seems that if this dies, then it could be like you could lose something. You could lose something, particularly in connection to that mother line. I'm not saying that, like, you know, it's something to do with the mother's line, or something to do with how your relationship with your mother. And this is very deep, you know. It's not conscious, I don't think. Or unless you've done some shadow work to investigate that, I don't think it would be conscious. But this is something about being opportunistic about a situation, and knowing when is the right time to be opportunistic about it, and when is the right time not to be. And just because something is dying doesn't mean that you can't see that there's some good things coming from it. Do you know what I mean? When things die, often, you know, there is a lot of sadness, but then there's also something that is released as that person passes or goes, when something dies. So it's something about a belief. It could also be in the respect of you preying on yourself, like, you know, kind of scavenging on yourself, and instead turning that into a sense of mothering yourself. That could also be a perspective, a sense of you actually nurturing yourself a lot more, understanding what it is like that you've sacrificed in the past to make sure that when you do go forward, you don't repeat the patterning from the past. Because maybe there was this kind of self-sacrificial energy I'm getting, where, you know, maybe a parent or someone like that sacrificed their own kind of like dreams in their lives to make sure that, you know, the offspring could get the most, you know, out of life. But in the end, they sacrificed their own dreams, because really their own dream, well, we don't know, you know. So, and the reason why I say this is because we've got south and north nodes, because this is to do with like past life karma and future life projection. So this is about you healing these ties. So it seems to me like a karmic pattern is coming to an end. Pile 2. Fabulous. Love that. Right, okay, let's see what the El Goliath has to say. I really like this with the Atrophos energy. Atrophos, sorry. Atrophos, like atrophy. Atrophos. That's the way you say it. Because I looked them up on the internet, which is, of course, the way that everything, you find it out, isn't it? So, it is the highest authority. And he did say it in a Greek accent when he said it online. So Atrophos. So yeah. But this is very, you know, atrophic, whatever you want to say. It's very Atrophos, because it's understanding how that atrophies, how it, you know, this is also an alchemical process. You know, that sense of like, you know, when it dissolves, when it melds, when it melts, when it when it kind of when it disintegrates into this goo, when things rot, you know, and that's what seems to me is happening. But you have to learn how to let it go. Yeah, to sacrifice it. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, the caution, which is an extra card, that's the heedful mouse. Oh, and another card that is not part of the tarot is the expansion, the shedding snake, the Page of Cups. Okay, you got an extra one. Pile 2, the Nine of Swords reversed, the Ace of Pentacles, the Strength card reversed, and then we also have the Seven of Swords reversed. I hope you can see that. Yeah, you can actually. Great. I might shimmy that over so that you can. So this is a big transformation period for you, part 2. We've tapped into something very interesting here. And I do feel that you will have to retreat into a space of where you look after yourself very intensely. We don't have the Hermit here, but I think this is going to involve you being honest with yourself, because in the honesty, you might be disempowered, you know? Sometimes when we look at ourselves in some way, particularly when it's to do with shadow work, you're disempowered, you're a mess. You don't know how you're like working through this. You don't know how you're going to get through this. Ace of Pentacles here is like this kind of, you know, it's almost like you don't know what the point of it is, almost. You don't know what is the, why, you know, what's going on. But, and you also know that you're dealing with something that's quite, it's very sensitive. It's very sensitive. You're delving into some deep trauma here. This is deep, pile 2. Yeah, you're delving into something that's unknown and you need to be really careful. What I'm getting here is, when I say really careful, I'm talking about with yourself, right? I'm not talking about like, you know, generally danger or anything like that. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about you doing this work in the respect to you ending this ancestral trauma. You know, how do you do it? It's not an easy thing to do. And yeah, it's a big job. And it contains many layers, you know, just like this here has got lots and lots of like things around it, you know. You've got the pearl, then you've got like eggs, then you've got like this kind of like thing which looks like hands, then you've got like another thing on it which looks like a hand, and then you've got all of this, and then you've got the nest. So there's some real undoing that needs to like take place in order to get through to that kind of like ancestral pattern. And it's not easy, it never is, you know. These are like lots of different threads, like layers of an onion. And that's why you've got the expansion. So it's like one of those layers are coming off. And that's the whole journey with shadow work. Like you continually go through this cycle. And as I looked at the clock, it was 10:20. So it was like, you just keep on going on this cycle. And then every time you just shave off like a layer of the onion. You know what this is? This caution here is your ego. This is about how your ego is going to stamp down, and it's going to make sure that you don't do this work. That's what it is. That's why we've got strength reversed here. Because your ego is going to be like, nah, I don't want to do this work. I don't want to do this. I'm all right, thanks. Can I just continue with the way I was going? And that's why, and then the vulture will come back and it will start to scavenge. You'll start to see things that just don't It doesn't work out. You'll also see people who reflect that in you, right? People, 11:11. You'll see people who I just saw that in the clock, by the way, when I saw it, when I said that. You'll see people who reflect that in you. And then we've got the Page of Cups. Now, I don't know, right? I got a feeling that you're going to get someone who's going to show you something beautiful, and that's going to trigger you, right? I think it's going to trigger something, because maybe there was an aspect of love. And it's interesting because I'm looking at this rose here that's on the head of this Page of Cups, and then you've also got this here which looks like this rose with all these butterflies of ascension and happiness and peace. Whenever I do my shamanic journeys and I see butterflies, it's for very healing, very, very healing. It like allows the light, and you can see here there's like light coming down with all of the butterflies in the background. It's when things are healing, when I feel like my body is healing or some kind of trauma is healing, when I see butterflies come onto me. So it's like something very beautiful is blessing from above, from something that you need to, or maybe it was a sacrifice. You know what I'm getting, right? You know, like Harry Potter, right? And I know I just did a reading on Harry Potter, but I think that so much in the ethos of Rowling's books really does attribute to magic and mystery. She says she is an esoteric, but I don't believe it. Anyway, so she, like the mother of Harry Potter, sacrificed her life to save Harry. And that's what caused the magic that was so powerful that stops him from getting hurt by Voldemort. So it's that power of love that triggers something. And Voldemort was destroyed by this, because there was nothing that he could do to destroy that. There was nothing he could do. He could even kill Harry, but still, even then, it still wouldn't work out, because, spoiler alert, if he kills Harry, then he'll kill himself, because everything, it kind of rebounded onto him. So all of the hate that Voldemort had with his own mother, and you can read the books to find out about all of that. The films won't tell you that. You need to read the books. And the whole thing that happens with his mother, it's that whole love. Even Voldemort's mother, like, gave up her life for Voldemort as well. Or Tom Marvolo Riddle. So it's that thing where there's this big sacrifice, that someone has given this sacrifice, and understanding the truth of that, and you kind of transcending that. And it might be triggered by a loving action. It might be with this Page of Cups. The Nine of Swords, yeah. I'll be honest with you, right? Like, here it has the overwhelmed sea turtle. That overwhelmed sea turtle is now like, is under a tsunami now, because that's what that is. It's the dark night of the soul. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a trigger point. Now, it might not, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but this is what might happen in respect to, if you decide to do this work, if you decide to meet it head on. So, and it doesn't mean that you can't deal with stuff. It's just that, it's going to be tough, right? It's a tough journey. Strength reversed. 7, but it's going to give you this sense of clarity. My God, it's going to like really like you will have no choice but to be honest with yourself. And in that, oh my God, like the joy and also the healing that is going to come from this is going to be insane. It's insane. I'm actually quite excited, because when it's like the deeper the cut, it's like almost like, the deeper that the pain is, the deeper the capacity for love. That's what it is. So it's going to be how much you can break your heart open in order to, for this light to come through, And that's where the light comes through. It shines through, and you're shedding into something very powerful, pile 2. I wouldn't be surprised if you are like my High Magician pile, or, you do some really deep esoteric stuff. This shadow work game may be something that's normal to you. It's another layer. If you have done this sort of stuff, it's another layer. Look, the eclipse is there. Didn't notice that. Great. So So yeah, it's like, this is deep shadow work. And I'm only laughing because like you have to, otherwise you'll just cry, right? So, but I'm on your side. You know, I almost said I'm Atty. I'm Atrophos. Atrophos is on your side. She's saying this is amazing. This is good, because this is the next layer of the onion that's peeling off. By the looks of things, it looks like you're peeling off a couple of layers, to be honest with you. Okay, so we've got, so yeah, look, the heedful mouse. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know if your dreams are speaking to you in the respect of like what this is. Pay attention to your dreams, but it's also like you can't run from it anymore. You know, you have to face the reality. You can't not do this. You have to do this. King of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, this is like stability. Like, I feel like you've got the grounding. I think you've done this before. I think I said this in one of my other readings. You've got like a stamp card which shows you, yeah, this is my 9th journey on the dark night of the soul. Yeah, this is my 10th, 15th. It's like my Vipassana training. Like when I talk about that to other people, and like the next one I'll be doing will be my 6th one. And no, it doesn't get any easier. It gets harder, but you just get better. That's how it works. It doesn't get easier at all. It's really difficult. But it's worth it in the end. You know, the sense of spiritual like wisdom and, you know, life force that kind of like comes to you, the enrichment that helps you to understand the dynamics of where we are right now and how to cope with life is just, it's just so rich. But there's some pain, yeah. Knight of Wands and Page of, yeah, look, see, I wouldn't be surprised if this person like would be very helpful to you on this journey. They might not understand, but whatever this is in terms of this, you know, it will hit you, and in a good way. In a good way. I just thought, if there's any way that you can, like, you know, if you have some intimate relation with this person, or if you're in a partnership where this person is there, or like, I don't know, but I just feel like you expelling sexual energy will be very useful for this. So if you, I don't know, it's very sensual, like kind of vibes here, and it was the same part 1, there was like some kind of sensuality, because remember Atrophos and like dying is like, the orgasm is known as the little death. So, you know, it's that sense of liberation, and that will really help, you know. It will. But if you don't have access to that, then, you know, I'm sure you can come up with other things. Anyway, sorry. The 9 of Swords, the 8 of Wands. So the relief here in the respect of the 9 of Swords, and this being like absolutely overwhelming, really intense, it's not going to last long. It's not going to last long. I watched something today that said that the intensity of an emotion only lasts 90 seconds. Like the most hardest point of an emotion is 90 seconds. That's a minute and a half. And some people run away from emotions for the whole of their lives. Now, there's different sorts of people, but mainly they fall into 2 categories. There's either like people who keep their emotions in, and people who can't keep their emotions in. I'm the latter. I cannot keep my emotions in. I have to put them out. They have to go out. But they have found out that that's more healthy, because if you suppress, contain, I actually physically can't. Like I actually can't do it. If something, it's very difficult for me to suppress anything. If I don't like something, I have to say it. If I can't deal with something that's in relation to another person, I can't suppress it. I have to say it. So when it's out, it honestly like goes very quickly. With my clients, I say to them, like, when they're for example, if you're grieving or something like that, or if you're upset about something, well, if you're grieving anything, could be a relationship, could be a family, could be anything, could be a person, whatever, in any respect, a relationship, however, I say, like, put an hour aside so that you're going to, like, cry about it or mourn it, like, actively mourn it. And you'll find that, like, you won't be crying for the whole hour. You'll find that you might start crying maybe, like, about 5 minutes in. And I'm telling you, like, 10 minutes in, you'll stop crying. You'll feel sad. There'll be still some, like, remnants, but you won't be, like, sobbing uncontrollably for the whole hour, more, depending on how severe the kind of holdback is. Maybe half an hour max, but you will never be crying for the whole hour. Never. So, with that being said, this will happen. This will happen quickly. This will happen quickly. Yeah, it will happen quickly. It's something that will, you know, you'll be surprised at how quickly it happens. You'll be like, wow. Yeah, really? Really? You know, the waves come and go very quickly. So that's a bit of solace. Anyway, the Tower. No, this is not. This is the Three of Swords reversed. The pain is temporary. The pain is not nearly as bad as you think it is. So yeah, it is going to be pretty intense, but you know, it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's because you've been through the cycle a couple of times already. That's what I think. Eight of Cups, strength. Yeah, you'll be leaving this pattern behind for good, and you are going to move on to something much better, pile 2. And you're going to alleviate your worry. Oh my God. See, so that is going to be gone. You're going to be like, wow, this was causing me that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, right, if you do this and also your physical health gets better. I wouldn't be surprised. You'll see a lot of shift and change in your life. Yeah. And then what would be really good is if you go to Helen's and Ember Moon's readings and have a look at how you're going to manifest and go forward with this. Okay, so let's have a look at your other cards. So we've got you some goddess energy. Mart, justice, balance and truth. Yeah, because you're reassimilating family lines. So, you know, this energy of Mart is very much about how you stick to the truth, how you make sure that the truth is on your side. Because when you stick to that truth, it will help you to attain clarity in your direction. Okay, I'm going to, let me see, revision. Black Moon, air, dormant. So what I'm getting, this is new moon energy. New moon energy of introspection. So that matches with the dark night of the soul. But revision, yes, because we're returning. We're coming back to this sense of unpeeling the onion again. This is territory where you've been before, where you know it. If you haven't done before, I feel like you know about it, like you know that there's some work here that needs to be done, or that you know that there's something that led you to this point that you had to do this work. This is not old territory. Sorry, this is not new territory. Let me just double check what that means. Wow, pal 2, this is like some serious, incredible reading that we've got here, because I just double-checked the Vulture, double-checked Mart, and just double-checked a few other things as well, because I was looking in books, so I thought, why not? And, you know, there's going to be a very unsettled energy here, exceptionally unsettled, because of what you're dealing with. You're not going to be able to sit still. And also with Mart, this is about your ability to remain true to yourself and also right the wrongs, and also rebalance everything. So this is definitely ancestral trauma. Definitely ancestral trauma. This is about you being able to rebalance this. That's what the vulture is when it's reversed. It's things are out of balance. Because the vulture is a very powerful, as I said in the beginning, it's a very powerful animal. And it's interesting how we have Mart here as well, because this is about the weighing of the heart. She is the one who you meet on the threshold, who, if your heart does not weigh the same as the feather, then you are denied entry into the underworld. So, and she has the heart tattoo here on her arm. So it's just, this is about you rebalancing like real karma and trauma. And I just feel that, you know, with this here, it's going to be very restless. And that might be the difficulty, you know. It's not going to be all, like, it doesn't happen. It happens in all strange ways, you know. So, you know, you might find that things aren't working out in the way that you thought that they would. You know, certain things until you've gone through this cycle. But once you've been able to work through this, then I think it will really kind of help you. And it's the ending, right? So it's for you to be able to embrace the ending and to let it happen. So that's the action that you need to take. It's not about, oh, you do something. Wow, you are destined to succeed. I love this card, the talisman. You know, my meditation teacher, we listened to a recording in Vipassana meditation. And when you're meditating so hard and you're in tears, maybe on the 5th or the 6th day of meditating, it's your 60th, 70th hour of meditating, and and you're like, oh my God, like, how is this gonna be? How, like, am I gonna see the end of this? Am I gonna get through this? My teacher always comes out with the words, you are bound to be successful. It's just a recording. But he says, you are bound to be successful. You are bound to be successful. And I've cried so much at those words. So this is the universe saying, you are bound to be successful. Whatever this, you know, because you have the very act of you embarking on this pile 2, it means that you are already successful at what you're doing. Incredible. I love it. I love it. Let's see some shamanic ascension. Wow. Pile 2. Jesus. I'm astounded by you. Astounded. This is like real karmic, like ending of this karmic tie. And you're ascending. And remember, when you do this, you free all of those past generations. And also you allow the real gifts of your ancestors to come through and take them forward. Incredible. I've never seen that card before, but it's beautiful. Or never pulled it, but it's incredible. Really incredible. Okay, so I've got this one here as well. Hearing. Okay, right. So it sounds like it's you need to listen to the sounds of your ancestors, to the voices of your ancestors, to the voices of people who came before you, people who you were freeing, you know, of these karmic ties, of these. It's not so much karmic ties; these are ancestral. It's to do with, it's ancestral. So listen. Alertness, deafness, and does that say distractedness? Yeah, distractedness, because the main power that we have in being able to alleviate family ties and being able to move beyond in this respect and dissolve these ties is remembering. We need to remember what's going on. So that's what the hearing is about. You need to listen. And we have butterflies here as well, again, with the butterflies that are here. Look. So the butterflies will be a very big animal totem for you in the terms of transformation. This is transformation, ascension. The butterfly does transform from the caterpillar, right? So it's that it changes completely from a caterpillar into that, right? So no, it's a moth. No, it's caterpillar. No, it's a butterfly. So okay, and this is the mansions of the moon. Ataf. Frustration and dispute. Allow your mind to wander. Hinder yourself from unnecessary answers. Allow your mind to wander. Hinder yourself from unnecessary answers. And that's Saturn and Mars. So the drive for learning. So what I'm getting from this, and it's Cancerian, obviously it's Cancer. So what I'm getting mainly is that things will be in unexpected places. You have to just be aware that this is a beast all of its own. You have to like let it just do its thing, you know. Obviously that you do your work, but this is how you. The main thing about shadow work is how you get through it. You know, how you plow through it. Do you fight against it, or do you like, okay, I'm just going to let the water take me wherever I need to go and just let me go down there and let me experience everything. And that's what it's about. And then this here, we have the last question to close you out. Interesting how we have a boat here. So what does it say? What are you, make sure it's in focus, what are you protecting in the safety of your memories? What are you protecting in the safety of your memories? What are you protecting in the safety of your memories, Pile 2? This reading's just blown me away. It's blown me away, Pile 2. Deep ancestral work. Deep ancestral work. Wow. I'll be excited to see if you guys resonate with any of this in the comment section below. But wow, you're ready. You're ready for this journey. Oh my goodness. And you're probably already doing it, you know? You are already doing it. You're already on the journey. But this is just confirmation. Let this reading just be confirmation to you. Pile 2, I feel so honoured to have led you through this and to witness this as your journey. But otherwise, do check out Helen's and Ember's readings as well for your manifestation and your new start of how you're going to, you know, kind of build from this. It'd be incredible to hear, and I'm wishing you all the best. Lots of loves, my darlings, and I'll speak to you soon. Hope you enjoyed the reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. This is Atrophos'S, her advice for you. What's ending for you? What's coming to an end? How you can navigate that? The offering. What are you offering? What's going on here? The offering. Offering something up to the universe. It could be a sacrifice, but it doesn't quite feel like a sacrifice. But you are giving up something. That's what's ending. You're giving up something. You're giving it up in exchange. So you're aware of the exchange. Pile 2 wasn't really aware of the exchange that was going on. They just knew that something had to end. Pile 1, it was the same thing, kind of like understanding that something had to end. But here you know that something has to die. Like you're consciously offering something up to the universe in order to make it die. And in order for something to come to fruition. So well done, Pile 3. That's very good. Goddess Atrophos likes that. So we've got Gemini reversed, I think. I think you know that you can't think about this. I think if you think about this, as a Gemini, I think if you think about this, that you know that you might not do it. Uranus, Uranus. Wow, so there's a real sense of supplication here, Pile 3. You're up for this. You're up for this sacrificial kind of vibe that's going on here. You know what's going on, and you are willing to take part in it. You're willing, you know that this cycle has to die. I don't know if it's a relationship or if it's something tangible within the 3D rather than a thought form or something like that about you, but I really think it's something like maybe it's a relationship, it's a job or something like that. You kind of know that this has to go in order for new things to come in through. It feels like with the other two, with pile 1 and pile 2, it's more kind of like thought forms and paradigms and shifts, whereas this is an actual thing. I feel like it may be a job, it may be a relationship, it may be a way of life, it may be something, but that it feels to me like you are physically giving up something, and you're almost, you may be even questioning yourself. It's almost like you have to go against your rational mind in order to do this, because if you think too much, you might not do it. Well, yeah, you're going with the flow. I feel this. I feel like you're just like, yep, I know I've got to do this. Look at these colours. It's very peaceful energy. Where is it? Yeah, very peaceful energy. This is cobalto calcite. Actually, no, it's blue aragonite, which they call like Caribbean calcite. But it's that very peaceful energy. I'm going to leave that for you because I think that that's relevant for you guys. That energy. What's the nicest bit? That bit there. So yeah, there's a very beautiful energy about this. Beautiful. It's almost like the chaos kind of descends into this peaceful sense. And it's interesting because you've got the Fibonacci sequence here, the swirl. That's just, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? The golden ratio. So you're succumbing to this flow. Succumbing to, and you're not thinking about it. Gemini is very much analytical thinking, like trying to decide, pick it apart. You're letting that go. You're letting that go because you might even know that this is something that you do, but actually you're just allowing it. Tarantula. So, I need to look that up, I'm afraid. But what am I getting from this first? So, what I'm getting is that there's a fear, because I don't really like tarantulas. Not my favorite animal. And I don't know, I'm getting fear in the respect of how something is perceived. So spiders and tarantulas and arachnids are very incredible animals. The things that they do, they weave webs, the web of life. It's all kind of connected in that respect. So, and also the way that they capture their animal, and they're very solitary. They're not things that they're not in groups. They don't congregate. They're very solitary animals. So there may be an idea that you may feel that it's not so much vulnerability, but it may look bad of what you're doing. You may feel that. You may feel that it may cause you to be ostracized in the respect of how you're allowing yourself to be giving yourself up in this respect. Does that make any sense? Let me just look that up. Well, this is interesting because the tarantula, according to Kim Kranz, is when you're at the crossroads and not over intellectualizing. I think this Gemini also is, you may have a possibility where you do over intellectualize. So if you're thinking about what you're doing rather than staying in the flow of where you're going, or a bit of like swimming upstream, if I'm honest, if you're doing that, then this is going to really hinder this process of your offering. It's not going to make it. It's not going to. the purity of the offering is going to be contaminated. That's what I sense. If you know, by this, you know, if you want this to end, if you want this thing to, like, say for example, it's a job, right? You're coming away from a job, or you know that you've got to leave a job. Sometimes you may think, oh no, maybe if I like hang on, and like maybe if I keep myself open for something, just in case, because things might not work out, I'll keep that open. You have to cut it out. You have to make a clear decision about what you want to do. A really clear decision. Sorry if you can hear that noise. It's a really loud aeroplane or plane that went past. I don't know what it was. Some big plane or something. But yeah, so it's about making sure that the ties are, you know, you're not, there's this saying that if you want to win a battle, burn your boats. So there was an army general that sent his army to go and conquer this island. And then when they got to the island, he got the army to burn the boats so that they had no choice but to win. So sometimes when you're faced with like no choice but to like do what you've got to do, or to sacrifice what you've got to sacrifice, then it kind of puts you in that space where, you know, you've just got to do it, right? If you've got a plan B, then you're gonna like follow your plan B, aren't you? You're gonna be like, oh yeah, well I've always got like a bit of a I've got a bit of a get out of jail clause, you know. But when you've got no option but to pursue or to go forward, all you're gonna do is go forward, and you have to make it work, right? You have to. There's a sense of uncertainty I'm getting here, and it is fear. I'm not going to lie. Like, there is fear. There's big fear here, and I wouldn't be surprised. But there's something very divine. Okay, so we've got the King of Wands reversed. Interesting. We've got the Queen of Swords upright. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Lots of people here. Yeah, you're worried about what people will think. I don't know if this is a relationship. I think it might be work. The shadow self. The hidden inner strength. And the Six of Wands. Okay. So these are two cards that that are extra cards, are not part of the tarot. And with that King of Wands, there's a real sense of, I don't know, I feel like you're doubting your own ability. You're doubting your confidence in this respect. But I feel like you know what's the right choice, what's the right thing to do. I feel like you know, pile 3. You know what to do. You know how to move forward. There may be people that are like not encouraging you to go forward, but they are a sense of stability for you, okay? They may be saying to you, no, don't do this, don't leave this job, don't do that. But it's because that their needs are something else compared to yours. Because your offering is actually highlighting their own shadow. And also, you know, this is really interesting. Like, it's a little pussycat, but then you've got this like roaring figure that's behind it. And that says to me that that's what you're exchanging. You're exchanging that darkness for something so much stronger. It's almost like you're willing to do the work. So pile 2 was a bit scared to go into that shadow because it was scary. But you seem like you're like, yeah, bring it on. You're like, yeah. But there are other people who are kind of like saying to you, I don't know. It could be also like other, I don't know, you could have like some fearful dreams, you know? There could be stuff coming in your dreams. Pile 3, I would, you know, if you don't do so already, get some agua de Florida, or you can like get like essential oils. So you can get like orange water, you can add a little bit of lemon essential oil and then lavender essential oil. You can also add in a bit of rose essential oil, spritz that over yourself before you go to bed, and also maybe say like a little like prayer or something like that to make sure that your dream time is good. You want to make sure that when you're doing this work that you're clear, you know. And even like, you know, even if you're not like that spiritually inclined, that's also something really nice to invoke, like some, you know, to invoke the kind of passage of the offering that you're giving. So as I said, if it's something like a job offer, like you're leaving your job to go into a new job, you might find something that is more, you know, to bring in something that is more congruent with your kind of feelings of what matches you, basically. What matches the job or the thing that you want. It could even be that you're starting like a new business and you're taking that thing into the, you know, you're going into the abyss in the respect of like, how do I do this? Maybe you're starting up a consultancy or something like that, just for an example. And it's pretty tough. You know, you've got some pretty tough people that are like kind of oppressing stuff onto you. But then I also feel that this Queen of Swords, I feel like that Queen of Swords is you. It's your own critical self, but it's happening in a good way. And you know that there's some stuff that you're going to have to go through, but you're ready for that. You're really ready for it. And the best thing about it is not only are you going to be successful, but you will also find others that will help you really a lot. And these look like apple blossoms. It looks like apple blossoms. So, you know, it's almost like this is experience and knowledge that is coming to you in this respect of you taking this risk. But it's like you really have to go forward and you have to take this risk because it just seems like it's the right thing to do. It could be a relationship. It could be. But I don't know. It's not. It's more to do with like it's either a way of living or like a job, something to do with your material security. Okay, so let's have a look at some. Oh no. See, because this is already quite good, you know. Usually, let's see what the other tarot cards have to say. Interesting. Okay, so we've got the King of Swords. Okay, so King of Wands, King of Swords. So the truth will set you free. Listen to the truth above all else, not to the hot air of the King of the Wands. 9 of Cups reversed. It might not happen. It might not happen in the way that you think it's going to. Yeah, there's that fear. And the Queen of Swords energy could also, you know, that could also be the negative voices in your head. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that, right? And just be ready for this, right? I'm seeing that if you let go on the possibility that this might not work out, that's actually going to work out in your favor. You know that whole thing? This is the law of attraction. If you let go of something, you know, the wish, something even better may take its place. Like things may manifest in a way that you might have never have imagined. So that's what this is saying. And what's really interesting is the first thing I see is this beautiful kind of like 1,000-petaled like thing, which is almost like the 1,000 petals of Sahasra, which is the crown chakra. So it's about you connecting to the divine when you let go of the emotional and also the material attachment to what it is that you're doing. Remember why you're doing it, okay? Why? Not because you want to make money, not because you want to be more successful, not because of any of the material constraints that might be on this offering. It's more about what's, you know, your heart, what's pure, what's the calling here. Knight of Pentacles, the Hermit, reversed. Things may come out the woodwork. Like, people may come out the woodwork to give you their 2 cents and might talk to you and might want to, like, say, oh yeah, well, you know, do this. Take whatever advice you want to, but just be aware of it. Because this might be for advice from people that have never done this before. Do you really want to follow that? You know, I remember I was trying to advise my friend on like a business, and she was like, I'm not listening to you because like you've never done it. And I was like, okay, all right, I get it. I get it. So why should she listen to me? Here's shadow self, strength reversed. Whenever we go into the spaces of the shadow, we have to remember that, you know, this is going to be a space where we are at our most vulnerable. We are at a very vulnerable space, particularly when you're launching something new. So that's bound to happen. That's bound to happen. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't mean anything, really. It just means that it's just a little bit... You'll feel a little bit vulnerable. Just remember to take care of yourself. This is a very suppliant energy. It's a very open energy. So just make sure you're protecting yourself. As I said, like, you know, it's more than like just saging or whatever. I'm talking about like make sure that your vibration is high, right? King of Pentacles reversed. Okay. Yeah. It's this stability. But again, there's just a lot of people I'm just seeing. So I just feel like there may be some people that are going to try and like tell you what you're doing is not on or is not right. They're going to try and stick their oar in. Page of Wands, yeah, see? Yeah, there are going to be people that are going to like try and chat in on this. Big time. Big time. So protect your energy, my friends. Protect it. Okay, so let's see what goddess energy. And when I mean about protecting your energy, I'm talking like keep your business your business. You know, you don't need to tell everybody what you're doing. You just do what you're doing and get on with it. Do you know what I mean? You've got green Tara here. Protection, enlightenment, liberation. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's compassionate as well. So it's almost understanding that when these people chime in and they're trying to advise you, it's like, yeah, that's great. And then you just kind of get on with your business, you know? Okay, this is this mansion of the moon. So let me have a look at this. This is balsamic waning earth moon, which is negotiation. So before I look this up, because it's got like a whole kind of like written blurb about it, you've got waning earth moon. So the moon is getting smaller. Earth. So some people, as I said, like, not only are you going to have to negotiate with other people in terms of, you know, and I honestly, right, you don't need to explain what you're doing. I don't feel like you do. If you want to, you can. But I think it will trigger off more of this energy. And I don't think that you need to do that. I don't think you need to talk to people about what you're doing, because the more you talk about it, it seems to me like you'll be in a space of where you're going to be analysing it. And then you'll start to question yourself whether or not what you're doing is wrong or right. And I don't think that that's useful here. I think the best thing to do is just to fight the negotiation that's going on in your mind and what's happening and about how what you're doing is the right thing to do. That's what I see where the negotiation has to reside. But let me just have a quick look at what that says, and I shall get back to you. I mean, it doesn't really tell me much else from what I said. It's about, like, this is a seed stage. So you have to kind of like have faith in that the path that you're walking is the path that you're supposed to be walking, you know? Sometimes you're not going to be able to see what's going on, and that's fine. But when like Gemini comes in and intellectualizes it, it gets a little bit like murky, you know, you're like, oh, you're questioning, and you don't need to know why all the time. And trust me, I get this because I'm a Gemini. It's the worst thing ever. We need to know why. We need to know why everything is why. Why? So like, it's very difficult to have any kind of patience. And this is what, you know, that might happen. And that's why I think that when you start to talk with other people and you start to indulge in this, best thing to do is distraction. Forget about it and distract it. Just do what you're doing and get on with your own stuff. That's the best thing to do, really. Okay, let's see what this energy is. The Sphinx. Choose your words carefully. It's reversed, right? So what that's saying to me is that there will be, to be honest with you, as I said before, I think that saying nothing is probably the best thing to do. Really, really. Keep your plans quiet until they're manifested, you know? Because I think people are going to, they're going to want to interfere. Feminine energy. It's a receptive energy. And I think when you understand that, you know, because you're wanting to expect this offering from the universe, because you're offering yourself, so you're offering something, so then you're waiting for the universe to give it back to you, and that makes you like an open channel. So that's probably why that there's these people like going, oh yeah, you should do this, and it's like, nah, it's all right. So I think just kind of keeping that energy pure and clean is going to be the best thing for you, because there's a lot of things here that say about this kind of like receptive energy, things coming in. So you have to be really clear and clean and make sure that you're just nourishing yourself and taking care of yourself. Okay, and then we've got here eventuality. Nice. Curiosity, intrusiveness, and disinterest. We've got a seal here. Okay, curiosity, intrusiveness, and disinterest. Yeah, honestly, there's a big message here to say that just get on with you, do what you're doing, and don't really mention much about it. So I won't be hearing about what you're up to in the comments, will I? But pile 3, I'm being serious. Like, it seems to me that you're taking an action where you are sacrificing something. And if many people know that you're sacrificing this, they're going to say no. They're going to tell you that this is the wrong thing to do. And you don't need that, because there's already enough conflict in your mind that's going on about it already. So, you know, but it's you, and not a lot of people are going to be able to, you know, take on that decision. I was listening, or take that advice and listen to that. I was listening to an interview with an artist that I absolutely love called Sev Deliza. She's an amazing musician. Do check her out if you get a chance. And she was saying that she doesn't read the comments, and she's completely self-published, like, she does everything herself, like releases everything herself. And when you see the quality of her work, honestly, you would have thought that it was like a high-end level producers. They are higher-end producers, but it's all herself. Like, she doesn't go to any kind of major record labels or anything. She does it herself. And when you see the quality of her work, it's just mind-blowing. But she says, like, I don't talk to my producers, we communicate through music. I don't read the comments on my YouTube, on the you know, when I post things out on YouTube or whatever. I don't read comments because I feel like it pollutes my mind. So I think that that's a really important point in terms of pollution and getting things like mixed up, because Gemini likes to get everybody's opinions and likes to know what everyone thinks in order to make a decision. So yeah. Okay, and then the penultimate card that we've got here is Kadakohot, I think that's how you say it. Fertility and prosperity. Feed your soul with love and abundance will flow. Beautiful. God, I love these cards. Yeah. Love. This is about you loving yourself, pile 3. Loving yourself and allowing yourself to be within this process. And to close out, you have the Hydra. Are you fighting a monster in front of you or inside of you? Love that. Are you fighting a monster in front of you or inside of you? Love that. Pile 3, I hope you enjoyed that reading. It was a great reading. This has been an incredible set of readings to do. I'm very honoured to have read for you. Please do check out Helen's and Ember Moon's tarot, so that you can see how you're going to move forward after this. Once you've kind of like let this go and let this kind of die, let this offering happen, then it's going to be interesting to see what manifests for you, what you're giving birth to in the respect of this death, you know, because it's a cycle, right? It's a cycle. So do go and check out their readings. Otherwise, you take care, my darlings. It's been a wonderful reading for you. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.